Hello friends, so let's take up the next essay topic. History is a series of victories won by the scientific man over the romantic man. Very interesting topic. इतिहास वैज्ञानिक मनुष्य के रूमानी मनुष्य पर विजय हासिल करने का एक सिलसिला है. History is a series of victories won by the scientific man over the romantic man. Very interesting topic. So let's look into this. Who is a scientific man and who is a romantic man? So scientific man is a man who is governed by rationality, by empiricism. That is, he is governed by rationality in the sense that he is driven by logic. By empiricism, it means that unless he perceives something through his eyes or through his senses, he does not consider it as truth. He is somewhat detached from emotions, and he's drifted more towards machines, towards technology, towards things like artificial intelligence or such kind of things, construction of buildings and dams and production of more and more latest technologies and gadgets and things like that. That is what scientific man is. Romantic man is the man who is very opposite of this. He is a man who is driven by passions, strong sense of desires. He has very intense emotions and feelings with him, and he has a love towards nature. Nature, right now I'm sitting in nature only. Let me show. This is the place where I'm sitting right now, just besides the forests. So he's driven by a strong sense of love towards nature, towards like rivers, forests, and mountains, and even towards fellow human beings. He's so romantic man and scientific man. That's the difference between these two. So is our history? That's the topic wants us to know. Is our history a history whose direction have been set by these scientific men or by these romantic men? Who have been more important in our history? Though the word there is victories here should not be considered just as victories in the war and battlefields, but beyond that also. Like, who have been more important? Are we a product, who we are today, are we a product of those scientific men? Or are we a product of the romantic man? Romantic man, as I said, has more desire for passions, and he's more drifted towards faith, towards religion, and things like that. So see, even if we consider the battles and battlefields for a while, then also there is a mixed opinion. Like, for example, let's start with the modern history. Okay, Britishers came to India. How could Britishers won? Britishers could won because they were more driven by some scientific traits. They were more driven by capitalism, by mercantile trade, and by they had better technology. They brought better weapons, and they were somewhat more sharp and cunning. While Indians were very much sort of passionate, in the sense you know this thing, how kings would fight with each other over petty things and not get united. They would not look into the science of politics, but they would be more driven by emotions and feelings. Okay, so India lost when Britishers came, and Indian kings lost. So in this respect, yes, the victories were conceded by romantic man to the scientific man. Before that, if you see during Mughals period, Babur was one of the first kings who brought gunpowder, and his army was more efficient. He had a better cavalry. He could win over the Indians at the time because of his love towards science. You could see in that respect. It depends how you see a king actually. So if we go back into the ancient times, and if we start talking about Ashoka, now Ashoka, who was a scientific man or a romantic man? Now Ashoka sent his children to far off places like Sri Lanka to spread religion, faith. Now when you're talking about religion and faith, not naturally we would be talking about romantic man. Ashoka was in a certain way romantic man, driven by some ideals of a welfare king, or a king who should take care of the public, and dharma and faith and things like that. So Ashoka was a romantic man. So even in the landscape of battlefields, there is a mixed references of sometimes scientific kings winning and sometimes even romantic kings making a big impact. But now I want to look you I want you to look beyond this realms of battlefields, beyond this realms of wars. Like, who are more important, the the romantic man of the past, or the scientific man of the past? Like, are we a product of the romantic man's or the scientific man? So see, the science, what science constructs and gives us, science gives us big buildings, big fancy machines, automobiles, and it gives us fancy gadgets, technology, electricity, things like that. So manifestations of science are all around us. In this way, if we see, we might feel that yes, scientific man have won. But no matter how big those buildings may be, I always found that from the back door, some emotions come inside. As in, you may have the best of automobiles, but ultimately you would want your friend or spouse or some relative or someone whom you love to to sit alongside you, to be to participate in that happiness with you. Similarly, you may have a big house, but at the end of the day, you want your family to live in that house. So emotions are very important. No doubt we are running after the products of science. No doubt we are becoming more and more materialistic and greedy, consumerists. No doubt we are becoming that. But at the end of the day, we also have also in some corner of our of our heart, we also have some space for emotions and romance. So you may buy the best of products of Apple, Samsung, or some other company. You may have the best of mobiles or laptops or things like that, but or hearing devices. But what do we want to hear on those hearing devices? Some songs, some poems. We want to watch movies. So it is the romantic man who is again and again getting an entry from the back door. Scientific man is standing in the forefront. Okay, he is more visible, but romantic man may not be visible, but he's still making his presence felt. So what I want to say is that romantic man is not dead. Romantic man has not surrendered. He's still with us, very much with us. So I here want to take a slightly different view. After initially agreeing to what the topic said, now I'm taking a slightly different view. It's a philosophical topic, and I think I can and it's going to make the topic interesting. That history is a maybe scientific men have won over romantic man, but romantic men have not surrendered, and romantic man is not dead. It may have got somewhat weaker, but he is again coming back again and again. Friends, I made a video on Dover's Beach, a poem called Dover's Beach by Matthew Arnold, and I published it just a few weeks or around 1 or 2 months before the mains exam. And the poem was very much based on this in debate between science and emotions, between the loss of faith on one hand and the emergence of rationality and too much of industries and technology on the other hand. Do you think that we are living in an age where too much of science and rationality has turned us into creatures who are always suspicious of each other? Do you think that this science and rationality has shrunken the space for love? Are we constantly fighting battles in the places where we rather ought to love? So, such questions this poem would take. And if you read this poem, it will help you write an essay on topics. And the poet Matthew Arnold was very much disillusioned with science and rationality, and he wanted us to get back into the realms of faith and love and emotions so that we don't end up fighting like midnight armies at night. So that was a poem you must watch, and if you had seen that, I believe you could have borrowed some lines or phrases from that poem into this essay as well. So now I'll come back to the essay. So I was talking that this romantic man is not dead. He's still surviving, though maybe a little weak, but he's there, and he is not yet surrendered. And if you look into the romantic man of the past or the scientific man of the past, who are more important today? Whose influence is there on us today? So as I said, the influence of scientific man is visible, but isn't the influence of romantic man also visible? Like, okay, Galileo was there, Copernicus was there, Newton was there, and the discoveries which these great men did had a great impact on us. Or Aryabhat, our own one of the best mathematician to have ever lived. He was there. Their impact is very much visible on us. But the poets of those days, Kalidas, or Shakespeare, or Milton, or Tulsidas, who wrote Ramcharitmanas, these romantic men, these men of these men who had love for emotions and poems and songs, aren't their impact also on us? And today also, today religion has not died, it is still somewhat surviving. And as I was telling you, that you may have the best of gadgets, but what do you want to see on those best of gadgets? You often see, sometimes you see spiritual gurus, and there is a rise of spiritual gurus these days. Gurus and people who can lift you out of your miseries when you feel entrapped, when you feel depressed, when you feel that the miracles of the science have not been able to help you out, or they have, when they fail, when the science fails, when the scientific man fails, it is a romantic man who takes over. It is a romantic man. It's someone like Sadhguru. I'm expanding the scope of romantic man to include everyone, like Sadhguru, the spiritual gurus, or even singers, or musicians, or artists, or even cinema makers. That is, those people who live for art, for emotions, for feelings, who portray that. So these people are still there with us. So the scientific man is no doubt very strong, no doubt he has been very phenomenal, but romantic man has also been very strong on the other hand. And towards the conclusion, I would like to say this, that this world needs both of them, scientific man and romantic man. See friends, again I want to make one thing clear here. It is not, when we are saying scientific man versus romantic man, it is not exactly we are talking about individuals who are scientific in their pursuit or romantic in their pursuits. We can talk like that, but we are more talking about science versus romance, science versus emotions. So on those aspects you take. When we say scientific man, we say thoughts related to science. That is rationality, empiricism, detachment from emotions, and too much consumerism, maybe affinity towards machines and technology and things like that. And when we say romantic man, we basically mean ideas and thoughts and desires related to romance and emotions and feelings and passions and poems and songs and love towards nature and human beings and sensuality and so on. So now I want to say that both of these two are very important. We need both of them. We need the scientific man also, we need the romantic man also. We need both of these two things, because when science fails, it is the romantic man who comes over and help us, and it is the romantic man also. It sometimes may need science in some ways. And one more thing which you can add it somewhere in your essay is that scientific man and romantic man are not always fighting. At times the boundaries really blur and merge. Romantic man is someone who has a strong sense of love or passions towards someone. If someone has a strong sense of love and passion towards science, towards scientific research, to the extent that he or she ignores everything else in his or her world, like maybe like Madame Curie or someone like that, would you not call that romantic man in that way? Also, he's a scientific also, he's romantic also. So at times boundaries do blur. So now coming back to the conclusion, you can say that we need both of them. There is a war which is still going on, and we should not let one die. Both of them are needed. So scientific man, yes, there are some wrong things also committed by scientific man. Too much of consumerism and pollution and greed, and these things are the curse of scientific man. And even romantic man is not without his own set of mistakes. Too much of passion, or too much of lust, or too much of anything too much is bad. Gita has said that three gateways to hell are anger, wrath and lust. Anger, lust and greed. So lust is also too much of lust would bring catastrophic disasters. Okay, so I think with this, on some conclusion on these lines, you could have ended this essay. Now, if, I, if, you, if the idea of romantic man is still not clear to you, this is now for your extra knowledge. In English poetry, the period from around 1800 and 1800 onwards is said to be romantic period, where we had poets like where we had poets like Wordsworth, and thereafter Keats, and Tennyson. These people writing, not exactly Tennyson, but Wordsworth, Keats, and Shelley, these kind of poets. And these poets, they would not write about kings or queens. They would not write too much about such grand things, but they would write about nature. They would write about desires. And Keats is said to be the poet of sensuality. If you and So these poets would write about mountains, about lakes, about waterfalls, they would write about common people like shepherd, or reapers, or solitary reaper, as Wordsworth had written. Oh wow, there's a sort of peacock over here. So anyway, this is this is I am attracted towards the peacock. It's catching my attention. So anyway, this is how you could have addressed this video. I'll just show you. This is how you could have addressed this as a topic on whether history is a series of victories won by the scientific man over the romantic man or not. Okay, so here I will show you the peacock. I think it's a male peacock. I don't know if it's visible or it's not visible, I think. So these are the forests around here. Sitting over here I am. Okay friends, so with this I would end it here. I hope this was beneficial to you all, and in case it was, then stay subscribed, and if you want to take benefit of the essay programs, you can let me know. Okay, thank you all.